Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving deep into project management. We're going to break down the core ideas that take something from a simple thought to a full-blown reality. Whether you're building a massive company or, just a new deck in your backyard. So let me start by asking you something. What could planning a wedding, building a giant skyscraper, and coding a brand new app possibly have in common? I mean, they seem like they're from completely different universes, right? But believe it or not, there is one powerful idea that ties them all together. Any guesses? And the answer is, they are all projects. And look, getting the difference between a project and just regular work is the absolute first step to getting anything done right. It's a huge fundamental distinction. So what is a project, really? Well, it all comes down to two magic words: temporary and unique. A project isn't something you do forever. It's more like a sprint. It's got a clear starting line and a definite finish line. And when you cross that finish line, you've created something totally new. It could be a skyscraper, a new piece of software, or even a marriage. And projects, they come in all shapes and sizes, for sure. On one end of the spectrum, you've got something like the Hoover Dam. I mean, a mind-boggling effort that took years and unbelievable resources. But on the other end, a project could just be building a little walkway in your garden that you knock out over a weekend. The scale is different, but the core principles? Exactly the same. Now let's look at the flip side, operations. Operations are the things a business does over and over again, every single day, just to keep the lights on and the engine running. Think about a car factory. Building the factory itself, that's a project. But the daily grind of assembling cars on that line, day in and day out, that's operations. It's ongoing, it's repetitive, and it's all about keeping the business going. Okay, this table really lays it all out. A project is like launching a rocket. It's this one-time, high-stakes mission to get to a very specific place. Operations, on the other hand, are like the ground control team, making sure all the systems are running perfectly 24/7. Because their purpose is so different, it makes sense that the way you organize your teams for each would be totally different too. So we know what a project is, but now let's talk about the single biggest challenge that every single project manager has to deal with. It's sometimes called the triple constraint, but honestly, it's more like a constant high-wire balancing act. Every single project is squeezed by these constraints. Think about it. If your client suddenly says, hey, I want to add this cool new feature to our app, which increases the scope, you can't just snap your fingers and make it happen. Something's got to give. You either need more time on the clock, more money to hire more people, or you have to sacrifice something else. You simply cannot change one of these without messing with the others. And that, right there, is the art of project management. So how do you actually juggle all of that? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle comes down to how your teams are structured. The way you organize your people has a massive, massive impact on how well they communicate, who has authority, and how efficiently things get done. First up is the one we all probably know, the functional organization. This is your classic corporate structure, right? All the marketing folks report to the head of marketing, all the IT folks report to the head of IT, and so on. This whole setup is built for stability and for people to become real experts in their specific field. Now, let's swing the pendulum all the way to the other side. Here, you've got the projectized structure. In this world, the project is king. The entire company is basically a collection of project teams, and the project manager has almost total control over their team for that one project. A great example is a movie production company, or maybe even a construction firm. So you see the two extremes here. The functional structure is super stable, but it can create these silos where the departments don't really talk to each other, slowing everything down. The projectized one is super fast and focused, but it can be kind of stressful for people who are always wondering what their next gig is going to be. So what's the answer? Is there a middle ground? Well, that's where the hybrid solution comes in, the matrix structure. I want you to imagine an employee who basically has two bosses. They've got their regular functional manager, their home base, but for a specific project, they also report to a project manager. It sounds complicated, but the goal is to get the best of both worlds, the deep expertise from the functional side and the focused speed of the project side. All right, theory is great and all, but let's see how this stuff actually works in the messy real world. We're going to jump into a case study about a brand new director who is facing a huge organizational mess. So, picture this. You just got a big promotion. You're now the director of the Information Systems Division, and on your way out, your old boss hands you a confidential memo. In it, he says that the top managers are fighting more than they're working together, And the operations manager hates it when project managers step into what he calls his empire. The whole system is just broken. So, this is your first big test. The current structure is just breeding conflict and turf wars. How are you going to redesign this thing to get everybody working together instead of against each other? Who goes where? In this is where all that theory we just talked about really pays off. The best solution here is to implement a matrix structure. Why? Because it forces people to share authority. That operations manager can't build his little empire when his team members are also reporting to project managers for their work. It's specifically designed to tear down those walls and get people collaborating. Okay, great, you've got the perfect plan. But now comes the tricky part, the politics and the timing. Do you walk in on day one as the new boss and drop this bombshell change on everyone, or do you wait? Strategically, the smartest move is to announce the change before you officially take the job. This lets the outgoing director, who still has all the formal authority, be the one to introduce and support the new plan. His presence can be a huge stabilizing force, calming people's fears about a power grab, and just generally lowering the anxiety that always comes with a big shakeup. And for the final piece of the puzzle, what about buy-in? Do you just hand this decision down from on high, or do you actually bring your people into the process? And could that actually help you manage all the internal politics? The answer is 1000% yes. You have to involve your key people in the planning. It's not about losing control, it's about giving them a sense of ownership over the change. When people feel like they've been heard, they feel more secure, and they're way more likely to get on board with the new plan instead of fighting it every step of the way. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question to think about. That next big goal on your horizon, whether it's at work or in your personal life, is it just another task, or does it have a clear start, a finish, and unique outcome? Is it a project? And if it is, how are you going to lead it? How will you balance the constraints and structure your team for success?